3 straight days of sex since we first got married. I'd settle for that. There's something special about the number 7. There's 7 days in the week. There's 7 wonders of the world. God even made the world in 7 days. And in the Bible, the number 7 often symbolizes wholeness or completion. Let's be real. None of us is creating a new world. We aren't marking off a map of the greatest architectural achievements of humankind. We aren't looking to restructure the modern-day calendar. But we're striving for wholeness and full satisfaction in marriage. The Sexperiment can be the first step. So the next question is, can having sex for a week really make that much of a difference in my marriage? Is it really that big of a deal in the overall picture of my marriage and my life? The answer, Lisa and I believe, and based on our personal experience, is yes. How the Sexperiment started. The catalyst that sparked the idea for the first Sexperiment came from my wife, Lisa. I was in the middle of teaching a series about the dangers of lust, and she handed me an article from a parenting magazine about the sex lives of couples with children. As I scanned the article, the research was depressing. It basically said that couples want to make love, but the reality is they don't do it nearly as much as they'd like. As I flipped through the magazine, I came across another article about a couple who'd committed to having sex at least once a day for an entire week. They called it a Sexperiment, and they shared some of the challenges that the week presented, along with many phenomenal results it brought into their marriage. As I read these 2 articles, I thought, this is something that could help so many couples today. And the best place to talk about this is in the church. So the following weekend, at the nudging of my wife, I challenged the husbands and wives of Fellowship Church to have sex for the next 7 days. As was expected, the men cheered and most of the women looked at me with incredulity. But after several days, the emails and calls flooded in from wives and husbands alike, thanking me for encouraging them to take the challenge. Ed, I thank God for you and your wife. Thank you for finally teaching us the truth. My husband and I are on day 9, so that should tell you something. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This 7-day sex challenge, Ed, is golden. Showers of praise for my wife and I, whose sex life over the years has stagnated and become, I suppose, a little rusty. We have a ritual now, my wife and I. After dinner, sit by our fire and share a cup of tea, bagging our usual TV indulgences in favor of talking and sharing our days, which leads not only to emotional intimacy, but now, with your challenge, a desire to turn that back into physical intimacy as well. Challenge rules. Before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. The Sexperiment isn't for everyone. It's reserved for those who are married because God designed sex to be enjoyed within the marriage bed. He created it as something sacred to be shared between a husband and wife in the context of marriage. For far too long, though, people of faith have danced around the subject of sex and allowed culture to hijack God's design for it. Now, sex is everywhere, even where it shouldn't be. Our world is surrounded and compounded by the implications and ramifications of doing it the wrong way. But the fallout of sex out of context is something that the entertainment industry, advertisers, marketers, and sales reps don't like to talk about. It's not that we don't think about sex. That's a natural part of being human. The problem is we don't think deeply enough about it. Many sexually active people don't understand what sex is really all about. They're convinced that sex is just a physical routine, a biological act between 2 people. They believe they can separate the physical act of intercourse from its relational, emotional, and even spiritual repercussions. But that's impossible. Maybe you're a Christ follower. Maybe you consider yourself to be a spiritual person. Or maybe you don't even believe in God, the Bible, or the church. No matter where you find yourself spiritually, I encourage you to continue listening. Because as you get into this audiobook, you'll begin to see sex in a way you never have before. You'll see it as so much more than a physical act. It's a gift from God that is emotional, physical, psychological, and above all,